In this episode, we're going to talk about why you can't get ahead. The reason you can't get ahead has nothing to do with process or what you're doing right now. It's actually about how you think. So we're going to be discussing the 5 mental foundations and what those actually mean to your business and how you can actually move forward in your life. Even if you don't have a business, even if you're just W-2 worker and you want to stick with that, that's fine. This is how you get financially ahead. It's because of how you think. We're going to go over all 5 foundations. That way you can get better today.
Mental foundations.
Mental foundations.
That's a hint into the next episode, sorry.
Yeah, and how they correlate. We didn't give that away.
No.
There's 5 mental foundations. And if you don't understand them, this is why you're always looking for the next secret. Or why people can even sell a secret, first of all, in the first place, as this is how you're going to get ahead and this is what you're doing wrong. It's all very surface level, very process oriented. That once you understand the foundations, you'll understand that the process is actually the least important of all 5. It is one of the 5, but it's actually the least important of all 5 because you can teach basically anybody or anything to do anything. So therefore, process is actually the least important in your mental foundations for getting ahead.
Okay, so I don't know any of these. At least I think I don't know. You've never told me this. This is not a conversation we've had. We've never talked about it on the podcast. So I'm learning this as you guys are learning this. Do you think that I know what they are and I actively practice them? Or do you think that I have no idea and this is going to be like a shock to me?
There's going to be a couple that you already practice because I'm thinking about them off the top of my head right now.
Yeah.
There's for sure a few that you're already practicing, even if you're not necessarily aware.
That's what I mean. Like, it's just I'm not aware that this is what's happening. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is why you're doing so well right now.
Okay.
You have an understanding, or you will have an understanding of why you're doing so well because of the foundations that you're actually building and practicing. And being under the age of 25, being 21 right now, you basically have 3 to 4 years left that you can make really quick changes mentally and adjust without having to fight.
Before my frontal lobe cortex, whatever, finishes developing.
Yeah, before it's fully developed.
Yeah.
And then it becomes more difficult to change over time. So yeah, we're really focused. We have
4 years to figure it out. Okay.
We have conversations. We have active conversations about change as much as you can right now because it becomes so much more difficult after the age of 25.
All right. Hit me with it. What's the first one?
Okay, so there's 5 mental foundations. The first and most important foundation is awareness.
Okay. What does that mean?
So awareness can mean anything from personal awareness, self-awareness, social awareness, situational awareness. Awareness means that you understand how you are affecting the scenario around you by you being there.
So like bird's eye view, being able to take yourself out and evaluate the situation from every angle.
Yeah, your ability to step back. So that would be more social awareness, in my opinion. But you can step back and you can see an entire scenario or something that's being acted out as it is because of where you are at. Okay. So let's say you're at a bar as an example. I know you're not really a bar goer, but I don't know why that example came to head. It's just
social setting.
It's simple to understand.
Yeah.
Let's say you're at a bar and you go to the bar and you're waiting there and the bartender eventually gets to you and goes, "What do you want?" Most people don't understand that they are actually affecting the situation at hand. The bartender would have never stopped. The people around you wouldn't have made a little bit of a way for you to stand there. The conversations might have been different. Everything that's happening around you is happening because you are there.
Yeah.
So that's awareness. That's an example of social awareness. But awareness in your life and in your business is an understanding that the things that are happening around you are because of you, not to you, not against you necessarily. It starts the understanding of a growth mindset. So awareness allows you to have the ability to change, adapt, and understand that you can improve things.
Okay, so the thing that helped me understand right now that you just said was that things are not happening to you, they're happening because of you.
They're happening
I think that is like the perfect way to describe awareness. If I were to put it, like that made it click is what you're talking about.
Yeah, so in awareness, everything that is happening is affected by where you're at and what you're doing and how you're responding to things. Like if I suddenly started shouting at you, right, you would react differently.
Yeah.
You would respond differently.
I might start shouting back.
Yeah. I need to have awareness, right, that if I want something to go a specific way, me first, has to act in a specific way. That's a big problem with a lot of things today, is that everybody wants outside things to change and then they will respond or react better. When in reality, for things to change outside of them, they have to change internally first. They have to be aware of what they change will change the outer of them after the inner.
That was my next question is, do you think that this relates to like when you think more positively, more positive things happen to you?
Without
like that
question.
type of, okay.
Without
so that's basically, all of this is like the foundation of a growth mindset.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So I want you to think of a situation where you've had zero awareness. How did things go?
Probably not marvelous. I
Not.
can't think of one on the top of my head, but
Probably not real well. So this is actually one of the foundations that, in my opinion, you do pretty well at without maybe even thinking about it.
okay.
Some people are going to be more natural to it
Yeah.
because of either their upbringing or their surroundings.
I think probably empathetic people who have like high emotional intelligence are probably pretty aware too.
They're
like on the social side of things.
Yeah. They're going to have more awareness.
Yeah.
They're going to have more situational awareness.
Yeah.
I want you to think about the person, everybody listening or watching this can think about the person who is always wanting things to be different, but they themselves never change. So therefore their situation never changes.
A lot of people.
A
lot. Like more people than not, I would
huge
say.
Majority.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 98%.
That might be you. Hopefully it's not.
We're speaking to the 2%. Something that I've done. It's been a few weeks since we recorded. We haven't had an episode come out in a couple weeks at the time of recording this. I've done more inner work too, right? I stay consistent in that. And one of the things that I realize is that we're really speaking to the 2% who are going to be willing to change.
Yeah.
So I have to be okay with that.
As much as we want to reach the 98%.
Yeah.
We might not reach as big of a majority as we want. Like,
yeah, we're going to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
But I have to be okay knowing that only 2, maybe 3% are going to make a different change and understand. And in this specific example, this mental foundation of awareness is what's going to allow them to change.
Right.
So they have to understand what happens within them happens first, and then an outer result is just the result of the inner change.
And like most things, when we talk about like your mindset and everything, I think that this one, I obviously don't know the other 4 yet, but maybe they're all as important. But I think this one is one that
they're not all as important.
Okay. I think this one is one that you can always go back to and improve. I think for the rest of my life, this is probably true. Every time I go back to like growth mindset, how am I doing? Checking in with myself, there's always going to be something that can improve. I think your awareness can always get better.
Yeah. It's going to be an ongoing practice.
Yeah. Like there's no perfect awareness or like growth mindset. Yeah.
No, but you can definitely tell the difference between a person who has a lot of awareness, self-awareness especially, versus the person who is just clueless and out there and floating through like life, sure. Right?
Yeah.
So that's a good picture that you can make in your head of who's the person that I believe, you can ask yourself this question, who's the person that I believe is the most aware in my life? And then compare them and think of them against the person who has the least awareness. And now think about their situations. Typically, not always, typically the person who's more aware is going to have a more successful, more fulfilling life.
Yeah. I was saying that because we were talking about how you're reaching the 2%. Everybody in the 2% doesn't start in the 2%. So I was saying like, no matter where you are in your journey, you can always improve your awareness. Like this is relevant to everybody.
Without question.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. Yeah. That's why you talk to everybody. And then the 2 or 3% that change are usually the ones that you resonate with.
Right.
Which there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. What else do we have after that?
So that's number 5. That's
that's number 5.
So number 5.
Okay.
Pyramid. Yeah, exactly. Okay. If you think of this as a pyramid,
is that the peak?
Number 5 is the base.
The base. Okay.
Right. It's going to be it's the absolute most important one.
Right.
If you don't have that, you're going to really struggle with the next 4. This is a great example of why you can give 2 people the exact same course, piece of information, book, whatever it is. One gets great results, right?
Yeah.
And one really struggles and ends up in the same position. Why is that? It's due to the foundations.
Yeah.
It's teaching that. I'll give you the least most important one. Okay. A little teaser. It's process. So if awareness is all the way at the bottom, it's the largest part of the structure. It's the most integral piece of the foundation. And then process is at the very top. It's the least important. It's the smallest. It's just the peak. It's just the very top of the pyramid. So most people teach, learn, and try to understand the very tip of the pyramid.
They try to jump right into getting things done. Yes. Like how did you do it? The actual motion versus the mental cognitive. Okay.
That question right there. How'd you do it?
Yeah.
That's why my favorite answer to anybody who asks me, how did you learn to teach? How did you do this? How did you do this? How did you do this? How did you do that? How did you get this result? Mostly pain and suffering.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
I feel like that's why videos on the internet are constantly going viral of people telling you how they did it. How did you become a millionaire in real estate? And they tell you the processes.
Just the process.
And those people never do it. They never take the advice. They never, even if they do, they probably fail because they don't have the foundation below it.
And then the teacher is called a fraud.
Yeah.
Even though he or she technically did tell the process, but they forgot about all the psychology and all the important foundational pieces. That's all.
And it's really evident the difference because when you open your book, first chapter, foundations, which is key.
And it will continue to be like that because that's the only way that you actually
it's
get
the most
results.
important part.
Yes.
Yeah. So really quick before we go to the next one, how do you improve your awareness?
Practice.
Okay. So how does somebody practice? Give me an example. If you're out in the wild, in the world, what am I doing to get better?
A great way to do this, in my opinion, which I've practiced, which I know that you've practiced too. You've actually done this before, is at the end of the week, you reflect and you write down what happened, why it happened, and how it could have been different. And if I wanted a different result from what happened, what could I have done different? It always starts with I. What could I have done different?
I do that daily.
Mm-hmm. Well, what happens is like you start getting down. You might be doing it by the hour now mentally.
Or like every interaction I have with somebody else, like every like major part of my day I do that with.
What would you say your close rate of your wedding bookings is when someone calls you? It's technically a sales call.
Yeah.
Right? What would you say your close rate is today?
If I can get somebody on the phone with me or to meet me in person, I don't have an actual statistic. I would say that it's probably between 80 and 85%.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
It's an insane
The tricky part is getting them on the phone with me or getting them to meet me in person because everybody just wants you to send them pricing and like just do it all online.
What great awareness. What you just said was a practice of awareness.
Yeah.
Most people just want this. So therefore, how can I be different and get them on the phone? Because if I can get them on the phone, I know I'm going to have an 80 to 85% close rate.
If I send somebody, if I just send them my pricing guide, just send them pricing.
0 close rate.
It's probably 10%.
Yeah,
it's
nothing.
Really low.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I look forward to them. I love sales calls now.
So that is a practice of awareness.
Yeah.
Now think about to the first ones you ever had. What was your close rate? Probably not 80 to 85.
Probably like 30%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the awareness is when I improved what I was practicing and what I was focusing on, my focus is I am going to provide the greatest service possible upfront. I'm going to be the best at XYZ, and that will want them to get on a call or meet me for coffee, and then we'll talk about their wedding. Those are the people that you want to be working with. So you became aware of the people who you really wanted to work with, how you could adjust to attract those people, and now your close rate's 90%.
And it's found me all of the best clients too. I work with the people that I actually want to be working with, like personality wise and everything, because I'm meeting with them. Like they're my type of people. I want to meet with somebody for coffee before I give them thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
The people who want to meet with me for coffee and they also love coffee, that's my people. Like it's just perfect. Like that's how it works out so well.
Those are my coffee people.
Yeah.
That's a great practice right there. And that started with, I wanted a different result. So I'm going to write down what I did through the week, who I spoke to, what the result was and how I could change it. Or what the different result that I wanted, then how could I change it?
Yeah.
That's a great practice of awareness. You can start with a week out because maybe it's difficult to do after a day or after a few hours. But subconsciously, you're probably doing that all the time now.
All the time. I'm always evaluating every interaction, everything after I walk away from it.
So that's why I think you've been practicing
some of these
foundations, maybe without even understanding that you were. Yeah,
like just without having the awareness that I was doing it because I didn't know what to call them.
Yeah, and now the next time you do it, you're going to go, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the next one?
Yep, so that's the most important one. Without awareness, you will have no success. Sorry. I forget the statistics on it. They've actually done studies on this. It's really high. 98% of people who are successful above a certain, say, dollar amount, I forget the exact statistics, but it's in this ballpark. 98% of people who are specific in understanding of their success have success, and the people who are unaware, only 2% of them are successful. It's like 1 or 2%. It's really, really small. So just by becoming aware of what's going on around you and how you're affecting it gives you that much better of a chance to become successful in whatever you're doing. So start there. Most important foundation piece is awareness. Number 4, the next most important foundation piece is cognition.
Okay. So I actually don't know what that one means. What does that mean?
You don't know what cognition means?
No.
Most people don't. It's okay. So cognition is an understanding of how and what and why to prioritize. That's the way that I like to sum it up.
I would not have guessed that. Okay. So I actually didn't know what that meant.
Okay.
Okay.
The reason I like to sum it up that way is you can get really deep into cognition and different understandings, but the reason I like to sum it up as why, how, and what to prioritize is it allows you to understand what you should be working on, what you should be improving on. There's a difference between efficient and effective. Efficient is working on something quickly. Effective is working on the right thing quickly.
Yeah.
So if we can get working on the right things and focus on the right things faster, we're going to give it more time to have a compounding positive result in our life.
Okay. So I have an example of this, I think.
Okay.
Something's clicking.
Perfect.
Okay. So
That's a good sign.
Yeah. Last year when we started the podcast, I put a lot of time and effort and like a lot of my attention to the podcast.
Yeah.
And my photo business, it's not that it suffered, but I wasn't like this time last year, we were doing full blown podcasts. Everything was podcast. We were filming like all the time.
Yeah.
And so this is my
messing it up, not releasing them because they were wrong.
This is my booking season right now.
Yeah.
So this time last year, I have less weddings booked for this year because I spent more time on the podcast. So I was less focused on wedding calls and all of that stuff. That's fine. But this year, my income is once again growing by like 25, maybe 30% more than it was last year. And I don't think I could have done that if I didn't focus on the podcast because I'm spending so much time with you and I'm learning so much like mentally and the foundations and just all of that. So I like grew as a person and I grew in my business and now my income, like I'm seeing it in my business now.
Yeah, you've had time for it to give a positive compounding result.
Yeah. So I'm okay with the fact that at the time I was focused on the podcast, even though it's a nonprofit and we're really not making money from it because I'm seeing a difference.
P.S. It's still a nonprofit.
It is a nonprofit. But
we know how to run nonprofits too, accidentally.
So I'm because like I'm okay with that because I'm seeing the difference now. Like I built that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're starting to, well, you also have enough of a timeline that you're able to look back on something. Last year was really your breakout year.
Yeah.
The year before, how much did you do that year before that? Do you remember? Last year was your first 6-figure year? Or was the year before your
before.
first?
22 was my first 6-figure.
So 22 was your breakout year.
Yeah. And then last year I made, like, I was pretty consistent. Like 6 figures, a little bit more than 6 figures.
You increased like 20% last year.
Oh, no, last year I did. Yeah. Because last year, I made 150 last year.
Yeah.
And the year before I made 6 figures for the first time. So I did yeah. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, I was about to say, so you grew 20-30% at least the prior year. Now you've grown 20-30% again.
I'm on track to do it again, yeah.
Yeah. That is due to you practicing the foundations. That has nothing, I'm not saying it doesn't have anything to do with process, but it has the least to do with
nothing to do with process. Nothing's changed photo-wise. Like little tweaks, like things, but...
You just got better.
Yeah. I got better at sales. I've got better at...
Which are all the things inside you.
Yeah.
That's not the...
I 100%... Like my photo... I mean, my skills are growing, obviously. Like I'm practicing photo still all the time, every day.
Yeah.
But it's 100% because of my mental foundations.
And now you're becoming aware of that.
Yes.
You're starting to realize if you want an outer change in your life of results, you got to change you first.
Yeah.
It's way more about you than it is about any specific result outside of you, which is the whole, hey, if I learn a new process, it'll fix everything. I could learn a whole new process, but if it's not in line with one of my mental foundations, it's still going to go by the wayside.
Yeah. I mean, we're having important conversations all the time since like my business has grown. I read more than I scroll on social media. I live alone, so I spend a lot of time by myself. And I just have my main focus is myself and my business. Like all of that, like all the time and energy I put into it is showing.
Yeah. And it's interesting how you have these great results, but I'm shocked. I'm shocked. You're so lucky. It must be
Tell
nice.
me, how'd you do it? You're so lucky.
Must be nice. Must be like, must be nice. You're lucky.
My favorite is I'm in the wrong profession and I'm like, you could do this in your profession. Like I hate when people say that. I hate that. People are like, how much did you make this year? And then I tell them and they're like, I'm in the wrong profession.
Yes.
No, it's not the profession.
Exactly. It's you. The DNA of business is 99.99999% the same across every profession, every demographic, every subgenre, everything.
Yeah.
And then the skin is slightly different. It's just like a person. Me and you are 99% the same DNA.
Yeah.
Right. And then the last 1% is what makes all the difference in making us different.
Yeah.
That's the same as business. That's why when we get together for an event, like we had a live event this past weekend from the time we were recording this, we had a live event here. So we had 30 people over to our home and it was amazing. We had insurance agents, real estate investors,
car salesmen,
ranchers,
photographers, ranchers.
We had ranchers, photographers, you name it.
Yeah.
We had all kinds of different industries and everybody walked away with, we had licensed people. And everybody walked away with, I really need a dad.
Yeah.
That's because we talked about process 5% of the time. We talked about the other mental foundations. I opened the event with mental foundations and how it correlates with your business. And that's what everybody was able to take away. It's amazing to me that a rancher can take away a principle that an insurance agent has and improve their business with cattle. Yeah. It's incredible. It's because 99% of business is exactly the same. The principles and mental foundations are core. It's that last little bit that makes you different. So don't worry about that last little bit that makes you different right now. Worry about the mental foundations and these core principles that will actually allow you to make the process a success.
Yeah. Like I just don't look at you or Dustin or anybody who makes like more money and think I'm in the wrong business. Yeah. Like, I mean, sometimes, you're like, you see somebody's paycheck, you're like, dang, but like
I'm in the wrong business.
for the most part, all my friends and the things that they're pursuing and the jobs that they're like going to college for and all of that, they could do what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. They're not in the wrong business. It's not because I'm a photographer that I make the money that I do.
No, it's because of your foundations and your cognition of what you're focusing on.
Yeah.
So the cognition, number 4, the next most important foundation, your ability to prioritize what, why, and how to focus on the right thing.
Yeah.
So someone who has, and we'll get into this more in the next episode. The next episode, we're going to correlate this directly with business. But you can have everybody all day long has 10,000 ads thrown at them on average. I think that's the average number. It's the stupidest number in the world.
Ridiculous.
Like it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So 10,000 ads a day are thrown at you. And if you got kids, I feel for you. They have number 3, zone defense. If you got kids, if you got other people in your life, if you're married, boyfriend, girlfriend, anything like that, you have 150 choices every minute of a different direction that you can go.
Yeah.
If you cannot choose the right one, you won't make progress. And that's a tough thing to swallow. That's a tough fact to swallow, tough truth to swallow.
Your life could go in a million different directions at any moment of every day.
When I get the most frustrated in my life, when someone's aware and they become frustrated, it is usually because of the next level of cognition. They're not doing the right thing at the right time, and they are aware of it, and it will eat you alive.
Oh, absolutely.
It drives me insane. Yeah. It is so difficult to be able to do the right thing at the right time when you want to be hanging out with your 1-year-old that's learned your name.
Yeah.
But there are times in which the 1-year-old who just learned your name that is adorable, it's not the right choice. The right choice is to go create and provide. That way that cute thing can become 2 and say your name. Yeah.
And that just goes with what people call time management. Like,
time blocking.
If you have, like how you talk about the balance, like work-life balance isn't real. You talk about the scales and everything. Like, if you're practicing prioritizing at the right time, knowing when and what to prioritize, you feel better about it.
Yes.
If you're not, you feel very unbalanced. You feel like anxious and you feel like you're in the wrong place all the time.
When I have mental struggle, it is, really high percentage of the time it's cognition. It's I have something pulling me away that I'm allowing it to pull me away.
Yeah.
When I know I should be firm, and you call it time management, time blocking, whatever it may be. Yeah. Like whatever the thing I'm supposed to be working on or focused on, and I'm not doing it. You didn't set
boundaries well enough.
I didn't protect my boundaries.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're somebody who believes you're that is practicing awareness, improving, but you're still finding yourself frustrated or just grumpy all the time, and you don't even know why, it's foundation 4. It's cognition. I am telling you, it's not the next few. It is in your cognition of you're saying yes to too much, you're not saying no to the right things, and you're not walking through the correct door. That's what it is.
Yeah, I agree because, I travel all the time. I travel a lot, but there have been times in the past when I've traveled too much and I hit that wall and I know when it's coming now, but I hit the wall and it's like, I want to go home right now. I haven't worked in 2 weeks. And you just know you're in the wrong place. And like, I've hit that wall before.
We should have an episode sometime about, first of all, hey, great awareness that you know when you're going to hit the wall now.
Yeah.
We should have an episode sometime about how does Aisley travel so much but still get wedding photography done and videography completed?
I'm about to leave for a month long.
I was about to say, you're gone for 4 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I want everybody to be able to have that ability. And it starts with making the choice, practicing awareness and cognition to be able to do that.
Yeah. It's a little bit stressful to be able to let go and be okay with it.
That's cool.
But then I realized, I look at my bookings and I'm booked more than I've ever booked, and I'm still traveling 94 days this year. And I'm like,
94 days? That's pretty good.
And I'm like,
what were you last year? You were
96.
97. Well, so you're like right in there. Okay.
Yeah. I figured I found my limit.
Is what you're saying.
The wall. I hit 2 days less. The wall is not going to get hit.
48 hours was exhausting me in my travels. So cognition. Let me back up. Awareness, most important foundation. Cognition, most important. And now we can go to number 3.
Okay. Foundation number 3.
Foundation 3 is business. It's really life principles, but we're going to call it business and life principles, or life and business principles. Now, what does this mean? Business and life principles is your outlook on the world.
Okay.
Your outlook on the world will tie in to your awareness, will tie into your cognition, will tie into the next steps of the 5 foundations. Have you ever created a solution from a negative headspace?
No.
Never.
And if I did, it's a bad one.
So, yeah.
And then you look back and you're like, I could have handled that better. I could have solved that problem in a more efficient way or a better way.
That might have been a more of an emotional reaction than it was a positive response.
Or a solution. Yeah.
Or any sort of
solution. That was a reaction, not a solution.
We're very good at making things worse before we make them better.
Yeah.
So if you have a positive outlook on the world, you have the ability to bring positive change, positive solutions, build and grow a life that you think is possible, or you believe to be possible. You can have faith at that point. If you have a negative business and life outlook or world outlook, you are going to be the victim of everything.
Yeah, I agree. It's like when we talk about when you're building your business, like the ceiling you put over yourself. Mm-hmm. If I think that as a photographer, it's not possible for me to make more than 80K, I won't make more than 80K.
That is correct.
I probably won't even make 80K.
No.
Yeah.
No, you'll fall short of it to keep yourself comfortable.
Yeah.
Your business and life principles will also be heavy foundation pieces in the paradigm that you're a part of.
Yeah.
Paradigm, as defined, is a grouping of thoughts.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to act outside of a grouping of thoughts or belief system.
Right.
Your business and life principles are going to be acting within that paradigm.
Yeah.
So for you to be able to change that, it's going to take discomfort of you breaking out of an old paradigm into a new group of thoughts or a new belief system. To your point, if I believe that I can make 80K, I'm going to make 60. That way I stay comfortable within my belief system.
Yeah.
If you're somebody that's constantly raising their level of belief and faith in themselves and in their ability to perform, what ends up happening is they turn around and they go, how did I get here?
Yeah.
How did I get to $1 million a year? How am I able to solve a $100,000 problem in one phone call now? If 10 years ago I was working a job and the most I ever made at a job was 30 grand, I thought I was worth 30 grand.
Right. It's the same thing, just practice. Like every time you break that ceiling, it's just going to get higher. But if you don't believe that you can do it, you're never going to do it. You can only do what you believe you can do.
And you're going to start to see, that's why the world belongs to optimists, right?
Yeah.
No pessimist has anything.
No.
They might have a couple things that they're negative about. But if you really think about it, if you think about, and this is practicing awareness and cognition and focus and prioritization, I want you to think about 2 different people. I want you to think about somebody in your life who's just eternal optimist. We all know that person, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of me. That might be that person in your life, eternal optimist. And then you also know the eternal pessimist. What do their lives look like?
Vastly different.
Vastly different.
A pessimist is locked in a box. They hate their job. They hate their life. They hate everything about it. And then there's the optimist who,
even when something good happens to the pessimist,
they find a way to make it negative.
Yes.
They nitpick the one part of the good thing that wasn't good enough.
That's the paradigm.
Yeah.
They will find a way back into an old, depressing,
because that's what they know. It's
but
comfortable.
known paradigm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Very good. So business and life principles in your world outlook allows you to improve.
I would say another example, just connecting it to my life.
And experience an improvement. It opens you up to receiving.
Yeah. I didn't think that, this is like fairly new.
Okay.
I didn't think that genetically I would ever be able to have, like, fit gym wise, a flat stomach or abs.
Okay.
I never thought that I would ever be able to be fit enough to have that. I am the closest I've ever been in my life, and I think I can do it now. I changed my mindset about it. I think I can do it now, and I'm like pretty dang close. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. Yeah. But if I didn't think I could do it, I spent 2 years working out thinking I couldn't do it, and I was just like half ass working out. I really wasn't doing my best. Sorry, guys.
Just PC yourself right there.
I wasn't working out as hard as I could, or like putting my max effort in, because I didn't think that it would ever happen.
And due to that, you never got the result.
No, not even close. And I have thought that I could. I changed my mindset on this probably like 3 months ago. And after 2 years of working out, in the last 3 months, I've seen the most progress I've ever seen.
That's business and life principles.
Yeah.
Think about that. So that's more of a life example. Think about that in your business. Think about that in your recent bookings.
Yeah.
If we think about over the past 3 years, we've already discussed you've grown 20, 30, 40% minimum each year. Each one of those years is feeding the next. It's becoming self-actualization. It's becoming self-fulfilling in a way.
Yeah, because I've seen myself do it once. I know I can do it again and then some.
You now have proof.
Yeah.
So you've asked on the past couple levels or foundations, hey, how do I improve this? And my answer is going to be practice every single time, which is a dull and boring thing that always works and drives everybody insane. I'm sorry. But how to practice this is you look at proof and you start creating proof, because you can't deny proof.
Yeah.
So let's say you have 6-pack in the next 60 days, right?
Yeah.
You're going to look back at that and go, can't deny that.
Yeah. It's mostly like the eating part, because eating's what everybody struggles with. And I didn't think like, I thought I was doing my best. Mm-hmm. It just takes building trust with yourself. I've been meal prepping for like 3 months now. And I'm so confident in my eating and my ability to like maintain everything. Like, that's all it took.
You just gave me an episode idea. You said build trust. What you're doing is building equity, and it's actually different. Well, whole another conversation. We will talk about that later.
I built equity.
But you've built equity in yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you say that just like all the other ones, the way to improve this is to practice.
Yes.
Okay, and build equity.
And the way that you're going to do that is through proof. So maybe your proof's small right now. Yeah. Maybe you're the pessimist. You're probably not a pessimist listening to this. You would have never made it this far. You're probably an optimist already. But the way that you can build more positive business and life principles and start improving upon them and practicing them is start reflecting. This is similar to the awareness and the cognition. You can start reflecting on what did work, because what did work can't be denied. It can't be denied. If you made 150 last year, whatever you made, you can't look back on that and go, well, I can't make more than 100. Your paradigm would be, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even calculate. It doesn't even correlate.
Yeah. It's more of a, how did I do that? How can I do it again and better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a, I can't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that. So creating proof in your life is a way that you can improve your business and life principles. And only through your positive outlook on the world will you have improving or better results. This is why people get so fired up, in the coaching space or mentorship space or anything like that. They get so fired up and they want it more than other people want it for themselves, because they know it to be true.
Yeah.
They have a positive business and life principle outlook, world outlook, because they've done it.
It's really, really hard when you've made the progress and you've seen it happen to listen to other people tell you that they can't do it.
Yeah.
Like in any space, in any capacity, whether it's like your mindset or somebody's business, their personal life, the gym, anywhere. When you've seen it happen and you've like put the work in and done it yourself, it's really, really hard to hear somebody else and they just don't want to believe that they can do it, and they don't think it's possible, and they think you're just like an outlier.
Exactly.
It's really hard to talk to people like that. There's
absolutely nothing that's fixed mindset versus growth mindset too. Like they're trying to transition out of fixed. It's impossible to hang out with that person. I'm envisioning that conversation right now. It's impossible to hang out with that person. It drives you nuts.
So hard.
It drives you crazy. The reason people get so fired up and have difficulty in that conversation is because they know that they're not actually any different than that person.
Yeah.
They just figured out that if they practiced and
I'm
improved, they're
no
gonna get
different
better.
for the next person.
No.
I'm no different than my friends who look at me and they're like, well, I'm in the wrong profession. I'm no different for them. The only thing is just I've been focusing on myself and like my mindset and my business more than other things.
Yeah. If you fall anywhere near the national or human average of intelligence, physicality, anything like that, and there's a reason it's an average because that's quote unquote the norm, right? If you fall anywhere near that, you're no different.
Yeah.
There are outliers in which the IQ isn't of a high enough level to make improvements. That is a sad part of the world that we unfortunately it's just proven.
Yeah.
It's just a reality thing. There are some physical ailments. There are some mental ailments. There are some things, right?
Yeah.
But if you fall anywhere, if you're trying to convince yourself of that, if you having that, you don't have it.
No.
So, and even so, there are scenarios where there's outliers from that camp that rise above and beyond anybody that you even know personally, success-wise, financially, anything, relationally, anything like that, because they had the willpower and the ability and the outlook
And the belief.
and
Yeah.
the belief to do it.
All right.
So business and life principles, foundation number 3, just it's we are still talking, all 5 are very important, but right here is where we're going to see a transition from absolutely critical, got to have it, to could be outsourced and can survive without it for a period of time.
Yeah.
So number 4, the second least important
This is number 2, not number 4. You've been
Sorry,
counting backwards.
This
number
is
2.
number 2. You are correct. This is number 2. So number 5, awareness. Number 4, cognition. Number 3, business and life principles, having a positive outlook on the world. And then number 2, correct, I was counting backwards, is work ethic.
Do you think that's something that can be taught?
Work ethic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do you think it's
Yep,
okay?
I do. The reason I do is we all try naturally to be lazy.
Yeah. I think especially in the society that we have today, the technological, social media,
The numbing,
yeah, it's in our nature to be lazy.
what do you call it? The death scroll?
Yeah, the doom scroll.
Doom scroll. Sorry.
Yeah.
Death scroll. Jeez.
Same thing.
Worse.
You're going to scroll yourself to death, yeah.
You're going to scroll yourself to death. Yeah, we all have tendencies to be lazy. So work ethic can absolutely be taught. Because when I think about, hey, back to let's reflect back on proof, I have proof that I'm able to work harder at certain times than others.
Yeah.
Like it's a choice.
Yeah.
And it's funny, once you get moving in something, something wants to stay in motion, right? Once you start working on something, how often do you want to stop working on the thing? It's not all that often.
Yeah, especially not immediately. Like you
get momentum.
You get a roll, yeah.
That's why I'm such a believer in motivation's fake and momentum's real.
Yeah.
It's because once you get rolling, you never want to get rolling, but once you get rolling, you want to keep
It's
rolling.
like getting out of bed in the morning. You never want to really get up, but once you do it, you're fine, and the day is fine. You go on. Yeah.
And
but
then
if you sleep in, it just keeps getting worse.
And then
'cause
you
you're not
stay up
moving.
late because you don't want to go to bed. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This goes right back to, we talked about it a few episodes ago, the whole thing that I believe in with the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, where like your tenacity and willpower, it's all based on getting started. If you do the hard things, you're going to continue to do the hard things and you're going to see the results.
And
but
you
you
wanna
have
do
to do the
more.
hard things, and you will have a will to live.
Yeah, you said it increases your will to live
Yeah.
because you've completed hard things, which goes back into business and life principles. If I have proof
Yeah.
that I've completed hard things before, I can be the one to complete hard things. I can build equity in myself.
Directly correlated to what is this one called? Number 2.
Work ethic.
Work ethic. Yeah, your work ethic, same thing as your tenacity and your willpower. It's all this, like, you can put that all under the same thing. Like your work ethic, it's directly correlated to your will to live.
Yes.
So if you work harder, you'll be happier and you'll want to work more.
I never even looked at it quite like that. Your work ethic is correlated with your will to live.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And that's what nobody realizes. Everybody wants to be lazy. Nobody wants to work, but the people who do work are happier.
Yeah.
It's like how you always say, as soon as you retire, you die.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah. If you don't stop working.
Retiring is the scariest thing in the world. We were just talking about this with my parents. My dad's been retired we're trying to figure out if it's been 10 years now.
Yeah.
But they stayed super active, which I am so grateful for, because that is a terrifying thing.
Yeah.
Like just mental foundation, the idea I'm retired,
I give up.
I quit.
Yeah. That's horrible.
It's
if you
terrifying.
just give up, you're gonna give up. It's the outlook on life.
At the event, her name's Karina. She was super sweet. She was great. She was explaining. So she's in the medical field.
I was there for that. Yeah.
Yeah, you were there for that
like
part?
the statistic of how many people die right after, like within 5 years of retirement.
Oh, they get what's the word? Some terrible. What's non-reversible in the medical?
A terminal illness. Yes.
Yeah.
She said,
how many people get just
it was like,
suddenly turn up with a terminal
85%,
illness?
85%. She said that.
Oh,
it was something ridiculous.
Horrifying
within 5
statistic
years.
that I don't want to think about ever again.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's like how, like that's
It's not a coincidence that they retire and then they get a terminal illness. Like,
they just decide.
Because they quit. So exactly, your
yeah, I don't know
work
what the
ethic.
science or data is behind that, but the statistic that she had was horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so work ethic. The reason I have this and the way I've learned this, I should say, because this isn't all just made up. This is years of research, people putting things together. There's a ton of different angles. You can look up mental foundations. You'll find different answers to things like this. But this is what I've found to be most true through my experiences. The reason I have this the second least important, or understand this to be the second least important, is because so much of it can be outsourced.
Yeah.
You can create systems and processes around you that get things done, and then your work ethic becomes building the systems.
Yeah.
It becomes different. Most people think of work ethic and they think lifting things or moving things, and I think about me and I'm like, have you seen my wrists? These don't move things.
I don't mow my own grass.
They can't do things.
Yeah.
The beans are too tough for me to chew. I nearly have to outsource my food intake. Like there's a whole joke behind that, but work ethic being the second least important resonates because I see it in people who want to be naturally lazy, and then they build a life around themselves that are able to be less physically like tenacious, but they have the ability to work their mind a lot and create things, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So a work ethic it has an angle of being able to outsource, which brings us to number one, which is the least important piece of the mental foundations, which is process. And the reason I mentioned process is the least important is because the principles beneath the process is what creates all the success and the possibility for the process to even work.
And just for people who may be confused, process is just step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Like if you're gonna wholesale a house, it's the 10 steps or however many steps there are to doing it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It could be, pick whatever you want, whatever process you want. It could be washing the dishes.
Yeah.
It's
doing the actual action.
Yeah. You can get to your result a million different ways through whatever you want to do. But the only way that you're going to get there is by having the 4 foundations below it. So if you don't have one of those foundations, you're going to struggle. If you don't have multiple of those foundations, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
If you don't have all 4 and you're going to have process, you're going to be the person who's addicted to learning. They're just constantly starting over for that dopamine hit of something new and exciting.
Yeah.
So you're going to have somebody addicted to learning who struggles to take action and gets virtually 0 results. This is someone who's missing either one or multiple foundations. So if that's you right now, cool, that's fine. You're aware of it now. That's what's most important. That's why we're listening. It's why we're learning. It's why we're practicing. But for you to get something different outside of your life, you have to look at those first 4 foundations and go, what am I missing out of these 4 that aren't allowing the process to work?
Yeah. What can I improve right now?
Yeah.
In practice over the next, you always say 90 days.
Yeah.
To change my life. 90 days, the gym thing, 90 days. If I look back, progress is crazy.
That was your business and life principle change.
Yeah.
So you made a choice 90 days ago to improve your world outlook, and you found yourself in the best shape that you've ever been in.
Yeah.
Did the process even change?
No, I haven't. That's the thing is somebody asked me besides my eating, because like I worked on
maybe some process there.
Yeah, some process, but like it wouldn't have happened if I didn't change mentally, because I didn't think I could do it, so I wasn't trying to do it.
Yeah.
I thought this is as good as it's going to get. I'm good.
And that's where I'm at.
And I was comfortable, and it was hard for me to change the process because I was like comfortable where I was, and I was scared I would fail. And I didn't want to say that I really tried. You know what I mean? Like you don't really want to.
That's a world outlook.
I tried my hardest, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then the second I was like, I started jokingly saying, I'm going to have abs in 3 months. I'm going to have abs in 3 months to my friends. And then I started believing it.
You gaslit yourself.
I did gaslight myself. I don't know why I don't do it more often. Why didn't I start doing that 2 years ago with my abs?
Accidentally brainwash yourself into success and like a better life.
Yeah.
That's because it's part of the foundations.
He didn't know what the word gaslight meant.
I still don't.
8 months ago. He only saying this because I say it all the time, and it's really funny to me that you said it first.
I still don't totally understand what gaslighting means.
Okay.
I fully admit that.
Okay.
I don't.
That's okay. You don't need to.
It gets defined differently every time I hear it.
Gaslighting is telling somebody something that they don't believe until they believe it. So you smacked me in the face, and I said, Todd, you hit me in the face. And you say, no, I didn't. I tripped and accidentally tapped you. And then you say it so many times that you brainwash me into believing it. And then suddenly I'm telling the story. Todd did not hit me. He tripped and he accidentally tapped my face.
That was the greatest I understand gaslighting now.
That's gaslighting.
So use that in your mental foundation.
Yes.
To improve yourself. So let's go through them again. We have awareness. We have cognition. We have business and life principles, your world outlook. You have your work ethic, and then at the very tip top of the pyramid, you have your process. The process can always change. It's the easiest to change out. It's the easiest to switch out, make adjustments, pivot, whatever fancy term you want to use. It's
and now that you know this, you have no excuse to suck at life.
Why? Exactly. Exactly. Why can someone go bankrupt and build much larger, much faster, much more profitable in a shortened amount of time compared to the first time that they got to the point where they had to go bankrupt in a business? Because they have all the mental foundations, all the proof, all the history, all the wisdom. They're coming from a place of wisdom now. So I want you guys to be able to come from a place of wisdom. Use those 5 mental foundations to improve your life any shape, way, or form that you see fit, because you're going to have proof and you're going to be able to have compounding results from that. Just like Aisley here has.
Do you want to tell them what our next episode's going to be?
Next episode is going to be all about correlating these mental foundations with business principles and business foundations. So there's also, happens to be, exactly how many business foundations? 5. What are the chances? So we're going to correlate these mental foundations with your business foundations. That way you can actually gain traction in your business and change your life. And man, be profitable, not just try to solve everything by, if I just had another sale, my life would change. It won't.
All right.
But your life has.
It has.
Because you're practicing. Oh, I'm trying to think of like how many business principles or business foundations you're practicing right now.
We'll talk about it next episode.
Yep, but I think I can already see a couple that you're already practicing.
Okay.
So I'm excited for that.
Okay.
Next
Thanks for
episode.
watching.